Yo, make sure to like and subscribe in the next 5 seconds, then you have the best luck of your life.
Yo, what's up guys? Alright, so originally my voice was live and I was doing a live commentary in the gameplay, but after I checked the clips, apparently my voice wasn't shared, so that kind of sucks. So I'm gonna have to do a voiceover in my gameplay, but it's honestly the same thing, so we're good. Okay, so my first tip is to always know your drop spots. That's one of the most important things, and that can give you such a huge advantage over someone who doesn't know their drop spot. So basically, by knowing your drop spot, you know your chest spawns, you know how to rotate through buildings, you pretty much know everything about your spawn. That can give you a huge advantage over someone who just landed there for the first time. It's just a huge advantage overall. Knowing your drop spot and not knowing your drop spot can be the difference between upping a fight off spawn and losing a fight off spawn. When you hear somebody gliding near you, look to where they land, see where they land. Like, knowing that information gives you an estimated time before they push you. So if someone lands like 4 buildings away from me, I pretty much know to myself that I have like a minute to 2 minutes before they push me. But sometimes you do get psychos who just pick up one gun and they push you for no reason. They don't even have shield, they'll just push you out of the way. I don't know why, but you do get psychos. Not all the time though, so it shouldn't be a huge problem. Okay, so another one of my personal tips is that I always get a purple pump no matter what. If I have a gray pump, if I have a green pump, if I have a blue pump, I'm getting a purple pump no matter what. So basically, if I have a gray pump and I need to farm 300 mats of every material, then I'm gonna do it. I don't care. Personally, I feel comfortable with the purple pump. It's just my go-to weapon in any game mode. The satisfaction of hitting that body shot for 100, it's an insane advantage in any fight, to be honest. You hit your opponent for one more body shot, they're pretty much dead. It's that simple. But yeah, that's one of my main goals in Arena. If you ever watch my streams, I always get a purple pump. Sometimes I cannot get a purple pump though, depending on zone. So I'll have to rotate into zone before I can even get a purple pump. Another tip is always pay attention to zone. So if zone is across the map from your drop spot, you should loot your spot for maybe a minute to 2 minutes max. Start rotating ASAP if there's no extra transportation around you. If you have a boat and you have a path that leads all the way to zone, you're literally chilling. You can wait till the last minute before zone hits you and rotate out. If you have a spot like where I do, where I have a vent that goes all the way up and is able to take me across the map, then I'm chilling and then I don't have to leave to the last second. So always make sure you have an eye on zone and where it's at, because it would really suck if you died to storm. And honestly, ran into a player while rotating in storm, it's one of the worst ways to go out. And it's one of the most frustrating fights ever to fight in storm, especially if you don't have heals and you have to be really aggro to kill your opponent. It's good to know where extra chests can be. Maybe like you're going down a path. It's good to know where that one chest is that you're gonna run into. Those little tiny things that you know can help you so much later on in the game. Okay, right here in a few moments time, I run into a player, but he doesn't see me though. So one of my tips is, if a player is near you and they never see you, crouch up to them. Because if you can crouch up to them without them hearing you and you can get that beam, that's a huge advantage to a fight. If you can get them down to 50 health with white, and you're aggressive enough to push into their box and kill them, that's such a huge thing in tournaments or in arena. Right here I'm just slowly sneaking up to him, and he's so unaware, and I get a beam on him. Not everyone in your game though is gonna be a god. Like, this guy wasn't really the best player, he was standing still, he was unaware, but sometimes there's really good players you can catch off guard by doing that. The reason why not everyone's a god in arena is because you are like 3 to 4 months, maybe even 5, I don't know, to this season, which is allowing so many other players to get into champion with so much time left in the season. Maybe in the first 1 to 2 months of arena in every season, usually you're fighting sweats just because their main goal is to get into arena, and for that they gotta grind and get a ton of kills. So right here, a player is gliding above me to zone, which is smart. For some reason, I don't know why, he decides to try to fight me in storm. Since he has the minigun, he thinks he can beam me with it, and that results in him getting beamed back. Since I have the health advantage, I don't want him to heal up, because I don't know if he has any whites, I don't know if he has fishes, so I push right away. Okay, we're in the storm, I have no whites myself. Whites are basically medkits, floppers, bandages, any of that. I have none of that, so I have to finish the fight right away, so I'm just really aggro. And since I do that, I wind up one-tapping him. Look at his loot. There's no white heals. I don't know why he pushed me. You get really psycho players in arena, so you just gotta be careful for that. Always be aware of zone. As soon as the zone closes, make sure you open up that bad boy again, take a look where zone is at. Because if zone is across the map from you, and there's a player in front of you, and you only have like a minute left or 30 seconds, it's best to just avoid him and rotate to zone. Especially if you don't have white heals or a jump pad, because storm fighting again is the worst and most frustrating thing to do in Fortnite. I'm telling you now. It's the most annoying thing too when you fight that one player who just builds and builds and builds and doesn't even try to shoot you in the storm. Like, it's not worth it, trust. Okay, so right here I'm basically just chilling in zone now. So usually in arena I just look for kills if I'm already in zone, because that's just my playstyle personally. A lot of people tend to just go to the zone, base up on the mountain and wait for next zone and play it safe. You can do that. That's definitely a really good way to get points, just by playing for placement. My playstyle is pretty much just fighting anyone in zone. So I always try to sneak up to a player, and I wind up getting one tag on this kid, but since my shield isn't that bad, I just try to keep height. But now that I'm sitting on height, I decided to pop a big pot because I'm pretty much down 36 shield. 36 shield can be a lot of health in a fight. Right here, I decided to go for a wall take, and it doesn't work out. He's able to hold that wall. So I just chill, reload my heavy sniper. The thing is, I always try to make sure I have enough builds when I'm trying to take a wall. I take his wall, I try to place a cone, but I can't place a cone from this far, and he winds up hitting a really nasty shot on me. Kinda lucky he didn't walk on me. Dude just had a really nasty angle. So I'm like, okay, I need to drink my shields. I need to take my time. So I just pop my big pot, I play it safe. And at this point, I'm pretty much like, okay, I need to dip. I need to get out of here. But luckily, I run into 3 medkits. I know it's kind of insane. So I'm like, alright, I need to get this medkit off. So I just kind of distance myself from him because I know he's RPGing. And I just take my time and use the medkit, and I'm chilling. At this point, he's pushing me, but I already have my medkit off, so I'm not really worrying. I hit for 30, I box up. I take a look at my mats because I don't really have the best mats. That's another thing. Always keep track of your mats. A lot of players don't. They overbuild, they try to take for height, and they wind up running out of mats. It's one of the most easiest things to keep your eye on, but it happens. A lot of players run out of mats and they die because of it. So for me, I'm like, okay, I can't really do a retake because if I do that, I'm gonna go through like 200 mats just by doing a retake. So I just rather wait, box, and chill in my box. See if he tries to take a wall and I can pump him. But this player is the dude who just stays on height. He doesn't try to take my walls. He doesn't do any of that. So I'm like, okay, I gotta play storm. I got 2 medkits. Probably wouldn't be able to pop them, so I have to push. I take height. I jump down. He edits out. I build a staircase, and I pop him for 100. At this point, I know I got health advantage, so I just immediately get the can with my heavy sniper, and boom, fight's over. It's easy as that. Another thing is, you always have to be confident and do not freak out. If you freak out in any situation, the fight can go down really badly so fast. Do not freak out. Always believe in yourself. Stay confident. Also, if you're weak and you have heals, aka a medkit, because a medkit takes forever to use, like 10 seconds, I always build out a medal when I reach zone, but I don't pop the medkit right away. Just because there might be someone waiting, and if they see through my builds that I'm using a medkit, they might push me because they know they have health advantage. So I try to wait for it to fully build, and then I pop the medkit knowing that I'm safe. If you don't have metal or brick, I recommend boxing up in wood and hiding in a cone just so you're protected by those extra layers and it gives you that extra time. Right here, I'm just peeking through my cone. I see a jump head over there and I see a drop. I'm just making sure I'm aware of my surroundings. I know where zone's at, I know I have to rotate, and I know that it'll be very beneficial if I have my own jump pad, so I go for the supply drop, and luckily there's no one around me, so it's basically a free supply drop for me. And what do you know, I get a big pot, a gold spaz, and a jump pad, so it worked out. Huge W. Again, always be aware of your surroundings while rotating, because you can always get heavy sniped, you can always get beamed, and more than likely there's always a player next to you, so always be aware. I wind up pushing up to this kid, I tap him for 70, and then I see that he's just spraying, and then he's gonna keep on spraying, so I lined up my shot on his head, and boom, one pump. As easy as that. That's one of the most important things to know. You don't have to be the best mechanical builder in comp or arena or anything. As long as you have good sense and IQ of what you're doing, you should be set. A lot of people think, oh, just because you're not the best builder, or you're the fastest, flashiest player in the game, that you're not a really good player. You know what you're doing, and you have good aim, you definitely can be a top 1 player. You don't have to have the best builds. As long as you know what you're doing, you're definitely good. Okay, so right here I'm looking for my cone. I'm looking what's in front of me to get to zone, because it's not really that far from me. And I hear some kid walking around my base. So usually, since I know everybody likes to psycho in arena with heavy snipers, if I have a cone in my box, I pretty much just wall them off. Even though I already have a wall, I wall them off an extra layer by editing my cone, because it just gives me that extra protection. I wind up running over to this kid's box who's just farming a brick, and he's not even paying attention. So I have a heavy sniper, and I know he's not paying attention to his back wall, so I wind up just going into his box, hitting him with that gold spaz for 150 and finishing him off with my AR, and boom, easy done. That's why it's important to know your loadout. If you know how to play your loadout and take advantage of that, you can win so many fights. It's insane. Also, me getting this kill endgame gives me this extra loot if I ever need to tarp into zone, just to have that extra layers. If you're able to tarp into zone and have more room in that zone, it gives you a huge advantage because one, if someone pushes you, you have a lot of room to run around through your builds, and eventually that player would get focused by other players in that small zone. It can get you closer to the next zone if you're able to tarp. Another thing is, if you hear someone fighting endgame, it's always good to try to edit a window and try to get a third party or an easy kill. But in this case, I wind up getting shot right away, so I just close my edit and I block myself off and bring my big pot. Sometimes it's always good to take a peek, try to get a kill from a third party endgame. One thing I also like to do is, I also like to hide in my cone. I pretty much just build out of metal, because metal is like the thing that you really can't see through. Brick, you can see through the cracks. Wood, you can definitely see through. So if you're gonna do this, I definitely recommend building out of metal, just because it's hard to see through. Do not jump into the cone right away though, because if you do that, your opponents can easily see through your metal that's not fully built. So I wait for my metal to be fully built, and then I hop in the cone. What this allows you to do is, it gives you an extra advantage to see where your opponents are, to see what paths are the best paths to rotate. So right here, I know I have a jump pad, so I pretty much just, I wait for zone to barely touch me, and I place the jump pad right away. What this does is it saves me tons of mats, and it gets me as far as I can into the next zone. Right here, this kid is not really paying attention until I land on him. By that time, I get the shot off, and I finish him off with my AR. It was a risk, but it was a high reward. He had drum guns, guys, and grappler. So it was a huge win for me. And on top of that, I automatically get height, so this should be an easy win for me. What basically this does is it forces the players below me to fight, and by doing that, it gives me a chance to third party to maybe win the game right there and then, or to just pick off an easy elimination. Okay, so right here I jump down because I know they have to rotate the opposite direction, and I know I can probably get a beam on them, and I just wait. And I do get a beam on him, but it doesn't kill him, so I just try to commit to that kill. But unfortunately he drops to the bottom. So another thing is, always try to keep height, especially if you have mats. I see that he's about to side jump to the side and maybe try to take height from me, so I place a cone. That's one of the easiest ways to block off someone that's trying to take height from you. Just place a cone to where they're gonna jump, and boom, you blocked them off. It also wastes a ton of their mats, so that's beneficial too. So I know I have grapplers, so I grapple ahead, try to get an easy shot. I do. I tag him for 15 shield. I go to the side and I tag him for another big shot. So now he has no shield, and I know I'm really up in health advantage. Right here, I just try to waste his mats because I'm like, okay, there's no way he has this much mats. I have drum gun. I have 370 mats in my game. So if you're height and you have the ammo for it, always try to waste the mats. I decided to take a shot and jump to the side, but I do miss my shot, unfortunately. Most of the time I do hit that, and it would have been done game right there. It would have been over in GG's, but unfortunately I don't. It's all good though. I don't panic. That's another thing. Never panic endgame. If you panic, it's just a GG's for you. You're gonna miss your shots. You're gonna start sweating. Your hands are gonna shake. It's just not gonna work. So right here, I'm just making sure to keep height on him. I know I have 110 mats. Always be aware of your mats too. That's the most important thing. I know I have 171 shield, but I have a big pot, so I'm like, okay, might as well just pop the big pot, make sure I have all the health I have going into the next fight. I'm not trying to take a 50-50 fight with my health. So I decide to pop the big pot, and honestly, it's better to just do that. I decide to jump down. He boxes me up. I don't panic though. I take storm damage, which is fine, because I'm still 190 HP. I see that he's building up, but then I notice I have no mats. I'm like, okay, I can't panic. I go for a side jump, I missed. I have the grappler. I grapple up. I know he can't see me because I'm in storm, and I wind up hitting him for a good pump shot and finishing him off with my drum gun. If I would have panicked there, that could have been a totally different outcome, and I could have lost the fight by either missing my shots, either doing a different play and maybe jumping down or taking more storm damage. By me staying calm and knowing what to do, I won the game, and it was an easy dub. So never ever freak out during a 1v1 situation, because it will not help you at all. Yo, so if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know down in the comments below. If you guys want me to do more tips and tricks videos, also let me know. This was definitely a different video, but I actually enjoyed it. So if you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like on the video. Use code TheSilentOne. That's pretty much it, guys. Peace out. Have fun. Good luck. Thank you. Deuces.